Oh, and we are live. Hey guys, welcome to Singles Chat. Can we talk with YLC TV? I'm super excited for our episode number 2. If you have not watched our episode from last week, make sure you go ahead and watch that as we are in these quarantine streets. I'm Jen and I'm from the DMV area. We also have Dana and Dr. Shonda. And we also have the fellas at the bottom, Thomas, Lawrence, and Elisha. Whenever hit the devil gets out of his system. There he is. There he is. So we're going to take a few seconds while you guys are coming in, and we're going to go ahead and share. So share. You know what? This will be a great time. Somebody that you want to shoot your shot at, just go ahead and tag him in the comments. Just go ahead and tag him in the comments real quick, okay? Go ahead and share. And then we're going to get started. When you come in, let us know where you're from. When you're coming in, let us know where you're from. All righty. You guys shared already? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. How's everybody feeling today? Y'all good?
Yeah, we good.
Oh yeah, we real good today.
Better now that we're all together.
It's always good to see some
It's
kin.
definitely good for the rest of you guys.
What you say?
I said it's good to see everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, 31 seconds. Go ahead and share. Let us know where you are coming in from.
Yeah, where y'all at?
All right, I see ATL in the building. I see
And
Connecticut.
while we're waiting for people to share, let's take a moment to give God a great big hand praise for our leader and visionary of all things YLC and YLC TV, Dr. Mark Moore Jr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The
We love you, Mark. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I want to pick up from last week. Last week when we were giving our parting word, Lawrence dropped a bomb on us. Like, he tried to like throw it and then leave. Like, we literally had 30 seconds left to the show, and then he like threw it and rolled out. So he said, one thing is to allow yourself to be single. We're single until we're married, and then allow people that you're interested in that same grace. Like, so we're single. What does that mean, Lawrence? I want you to pick that up. What does that mean you're single till you're married? Like, are you saying you're dating multiple people at one time? Are you saying there's no titles? Like, you dropped the bomb. Let's go.
Yeah, so like I'm not advocating that everyone handle this advice in the same form and fashion. I'm not suggesting that everyone should date multiple people at the same time. And as a matter of fact, I would even go so far as to say that the burden of showing that commitment should lie in the man first, that he prove himself worthy of a woman giving her undivided attention to him. I would say that. But this is what I mean by you are single until you're married. So allow the people you're interested in to be single until you're married. This is what I'm saying. I am saying that there are certain accountabilities, I will say, that you should not force upon anyone that you're talking to, interested in, simply because you're talking to and interested in, and you haven't dealt with your own insecurities. I think that you have to allow that person the freedom to be who they are. They will give you the attention that they think you should have. And you need to discern whether or not that is enough for you to move that relationship forward. I don't think it's the same. I think at a certain point, this is grown folk, right? We're not talking about the whole high school dating thing, boyfriend, girlfriend. We're talking about grown folks who are interested in one another, talking to one another. If you are a man, this is just how I handle my business. If I am interested in someone, I am not the person who's going to be asking them where they are all the time. Why didn't you hit me up on this, that, and the other thing? Now, and I'm not saying that that's always inappropriate, because I think there is a certain level of accountability that goes back and forth for men and women within the relationship of marriage. But if you're not married, chill out, bro. That is not your space. That is not your place. You have to earn that. And the way you earn that is by making that commitment before God and man that this is the person that you are going to cover for the rest of your life. So that is specifically for my brothers. But I think when we start talking about in general, our men and women, it's just about, hey, listen, like, they still, like, no is an answer. It's a complete sentence, right? Like, if people can, if you can put something out there, people can say no, and that they can say no to you. Rejection is real, and you have to accept that you can be rejected. So for me, I think if I am talking to or interested in someone, before they say they are going to spend the rest of their life with me, they can still reject me. They can still say no. So I have to allow that.
Okay, so and I'm gonna go to you, Dana. Right after I ask this question, so that means that they can date other people while they date you. Like, you're okay with that?
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm not.
Let's go.
Okay. So here's what I'm saying. I think once a man has set his sight, has set his eyes, I think that his eyes need to be set. I think that he should focus on that individual. He doesn't need to be out here playing the field, seeing who's better at this, who's that. No. I feel like once a man has set his eyes, he should be focused in pursuit. You can't pursue running in two different directions. So if you're going to pursue, then pursue one direction. And then if you decide that is no longer worth the pursuit, that's okay. You can change course, but you need to have one pursuit. On the flip side of that, I think that the man is he has the burden of proving himself to attract all of her attention, right? It's like if she's talking to other people, okay, she's talking to other people, but sooner or later,
All right.
it's gonna turn in my favor, right? Like, I gotta be okay with that. Why? Because I am showing myself to be worthy of that, right? So I think I'm not saying necessarily dating, because I think everybody has different ways in which they may define that. But I am saying that when it comes to having someone's attention and commitment outside of marriage, right? In terms of this is the only person that I'm interested in and seeking something and building something with, because we all know there's levels to this, right? When I'm first talking to somebody is different than when we've been, months in the game, years in the game before we start talking seriously about marriage. I think that's a very different level. And at that point, if y'all aren't the only people that y'all are dating, then y'all got some other issues. But especially initially, if she is interested in, or she's like, looking at her suitors, like, who are the people who are interested in me? That's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And if I think I'm a worthy suitor, I'll show it.
All right, Lawrence. I like the way you're talking today. Come on, Dana. What do you want to say?
Well, I was gonna, just to piggyback on you're single until you're married. I know couples who have dated one person for years, and that is not the person they are married to today. But you still kind of, while there's a level of accountability and responsibility and all that stuff in a serious relationship when you are courting, I think too you have to keep in the back of your mind that this may not last. And I think there is a certain level of commitment that you do give someone when you guys are in a committed relationship, but you don't get all the benefits of marriage, which is what I think Lawrence is really saying. You don't get all the benefits of marriage before you guys have made that commitment, because anything can happen. And conversely, you are married until you are single. So don't be out here trying to be in people's inboxes when you separated, or when you are my divorce is in process. No, until that ink is dry, until that date is final, you sit your little happy self down and get some healing and do some other things. Don't be out here trying to date folk.
Wait, hold on, Dana. You sound like that got too real for you for a second.
It's too real.
Because
I see a lot.
All right, fellas, jump in here. So y'all really not answering my question though, because it's cute. I like this. You earn my trust. I'm with it. I'm here. But at that, so you're saying, because people get hemmed up in this, right? And I'm not saying it may not be just one answer. So is it okay to entertain more than one person at a time?
I feel like it is.
Ooh, okay. So what does that look like? God.
So this looks like, maybe you're going about your schedule, and quite naturally you can find interest. I don't think we don't necessarily find interest when we first see someone. I think the first thing we see is that flesh. Honestly, quite honestly, you saw something that you liked, and so now we're talking because I think you look good, and so now I've got to figure out if what's on the inside is just as good as what I see. Now, if it is, my interest level will peak, and so I'm not about to waste time in a whole lot of different directions, as my fair brother Lawrence said so eloquently earlier. But up until then, up until you see something that see something in someone and not just on someone that you're like, this could really work, and this could really work for me. Up until that time, there are no rules, and that's what Lawrence is saying. You cannot tell me that now that I'm dating you, you're the only person I can date. I can't go to the movies with nobody else. I can't go eat. At this point, I'm like, it looks like it's a couple problems going on. I don't know if I want to be involved anyway. I think we first got to decide what this relationship is, and if we're moving in that way. And then now, if we are moving in that way, now it's time to go ahead and start clearing up some of those other relationships.
All right, y'all real liberal tonight. Thomas, I want to hear from you.
I agree. I agree with Lawrence and Elisha, but I want to say this: that it all boils down to communication at the end of the day. I think dating is nothing more than collecting data. So I do believe that you can date multiple people at one time, but it's all about communication, because you may have someone that's very, very interested and into you. They may not agree with you dating. They may not agree with you going out to the movies with someone else. So I think that it's all about communication at the end of the day, just letting them know where you are. And then I think for us guys, that we can't get in the habit of dating multiple people at one time. If we're going to date, I believe that we should date with a focus and with a potential goal in mind, and date according to the level in which you can handle, because you can't talk to 10 people at one time. You know what I mean? So I think that it boils down to communication at the end of the day.
So with that communication, does that mean you tell them about each other, or do you tell them I'm in multiple relationships?
Yes, you definitely. But multiple relationships is way different than dating.
No, it's not. A relationship is a relationship.
Wait, what? Say this again.
When I have a relationship, we're in a business relationship. We're in a familial.
That's the difference between.
Okay, so what I'm.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Thomas, you want this one? I got it.
Go ahead.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Relationship, sir.
This is what I'm saying. Okay, whatever you want to label this thing as, you can. But there is a difference between me coming at you and saying, I would like this to be an item. Like, I would like to really pursue what me and you look like in the future. I would like to pursue the idea of what me and you together are. And that is way different than saying, I would like to get to know you, or I would like to go to dinner, or I would like to, I would like to go out just so I can know more about you. Those are two different things. And so that latter thing you can do. You can go to the movie with one person today, go to the movie with somebody else tomorrow, go to the arcade. You can do that. But as soon as you tell somebody, I want to pursue something in a committed relationship, I want to pursue something between the two of us and see how far we can take this thing, that's way different. And after you spell that out, ain't no other relationship. You don't need to be going to the movie with nobody else. You don't need to be, like, for me, from where I come from, that's not, you don't even have to say that. But nowadays you do. You have to say, so are we talking to other people now? Nowadays you gotta, that has to be a conversation. But from where I come from, that's not a conversation. As soon as I say this is what I need and this is what I want, listen, I'm locked in.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I gotta disagree with you, bro. I'm not. Okay, so Thomas, you said that dating is collecting data, right?
Yes.
if dating is collecting data, how much data are you trying to collect at the same time, bro? Like I'm just like, in my mind, okay, so I was an economist, right? So like when we tried to figure out functions, we had to figure out all the different inputs, all the different variables, but that was to answer one question, one equation. How many different equations are you trying to like collect data on where it's like, well, because I mean, quite honest, right? I mean, let's just be real, brothers. Right? Like, if you a brother in the chat, I need you to I need you to help me out here. Like, how many of y'all are gonna get confused with all the data that y'all collecting? Right? You talking about, well, you know, she was kind of like this, but then that was like, but wait, like I went out with that person, like it's too much, it's too much. Like we need to just kind of focus in. Like, so somebody put it up there on the screen earlier. They said old school courtship is my cup of tea. I'm of the mindset that I'm a court until it's time for me to get off the court and go somewhere else, because it's like it's too, I'm not going to be collecting data on a whole bunch of people trying to weigh options as if, right, like I'm just somebody where I got all these other options. And plus, ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, but if y'all know that we are talking to other people, does it not say anything about our true interest in you?
So I think that, like, what we're saying is cute. I don't know who, if you're typing. Please stop typing. Okay. I think it sounds real cute, like what we're trying to propose, but I don't know how this will work in real life, right? So men, I know that you guys are used to dating dating multiple people, but as soon as we say, I'm not ready for that yet, it's like, excuse me, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like? Go ahead, Dana.
Well, as the author of a book called Kingdom Courting, shameless plug, sorry, Mark. One of the things that I talked about is that you have to really define your language. You have to define. So for Thomas, dating means I'm collecting data. For me, that means something completely different. For the person that you may be interested in, it means something completely different. When I say relationship, Elisha already assumes that I'm saying something romantic. Again, that's a definition of terms. And because I am a writer, a person who loves English, and I love language, I need you to clarify terms. So that's part of even our dating process. We need to clarify our terms. Exactly. What does dating look like to you? What does courtship look like to you? What does we're on the course to marriage look like to you? Or I'm interested in someone else, or I'm seeing someone else while I'm seeing you, because everybody's definition is different. I had to learn the definition of friends because people's idea of friendship has changed. I don't do that with my friends. I go shopping with my friends. I eat with my friends. What you do with your friends is completely different. So I think it's a matter of clarifying terms. What is dating for you? If I say dating to someone who was born in 1920, they're talking courtship. All they know is, if you take me out in public, we get married, right? So that was dating. But if you say dating to someone now, we see with just 6 people on a screen, dating has a different connotation for different people.
Dr. Sean, please jump
yeah, absolutely. So I'm in 100% agreement with you, Dana. So, I think it goes back to the verbiage. So we have to be very explicit with our language and clearly defining what it is exactly that we're looking for in this relationship and what it means to us. Otherwise, that's where the waters can get murky. Also, going back to the question about like dating multiple people. So personally, I feel as though that's healthy in its beginning stages, because if you're coming to somebody or coming at me and you're expressing interest, I'm going to look at you sideways if you're willing to give me your everything within the first week of knowing me, because that clearly indicates that you have poor boundaries. So in my personal opinion, I feel as though being able to kind of limit what you're offering that person until you all get to that point where you're able to discuss, okay, I'm willing to go forward, therefore we need to, 86 all the other distractions. I think that, dating other people and getting to know them on a friendship level is completely healthy.
Yeah, I agree absolutely with that. I think the boundaries and everything else is really important. And when you talk about the verbiage of it, that communication, somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was you, Thomas, about that expectations, right? It's about managing those expectations and what works between the two of you. I just feel like especially for our men, or let me even not say for men, but for me, I feel like even though I am not giving everything within the first couple weeks, right? And you set those boundaries and you still learn and you collect data. I'm just not trying to collect all this data all the same. Like, I'm in no rush to like solidify nothing. So like, why would I feel like I need to be out here just talking to multiple people, collecting all these different data points, trying to see which route I'm gonna go? And Dana, you said something that's really, really important. You said, whether it's romantic or not, it's still a relationship. So my thing is, even with your friends, you're always collecting data. So if you have a friend who is of the opposite sex, it's like, well, you're still collecting data, but there's no intent behind the data you're collecting. I think that's really the important piece. It's like, what is your intention with what you're asking? What is the intention behind that relationship? And the moment that that intention flips to something that may become more romantic, pushing toward marriage, I think that's the point in which like a man needs to specifically pursue that data and not collecting all these other data points.
I got that. That's good, Lawrence. I think too, not only just communication, but then it boils down to season too, because I can say personally, the season that I'm in, I don't have enough time to date multiple women. In the season that I'm in, and the season that I'm in is I've been married before. So I just don't have the time to do that. I'm not. That's not my thing. But I do know guys. I have friends that they're in a different season, and so they got time to do it. They're interested in 3 or 4 multiple women at the same time. But I agree with you. If you're gonna focus on someone, focus on the one. I agree with that.
So we're going to move forward, but I think that all in all, it's really about your intention. Like, you have your intentions and your motive and your communication. I think that if you are going to talk to more than one person, I think you need to make sure that, I don't know. How would you tell the other person that though? Like, go ahead, Dana.
I know men don't like to hear it because some men will pull out of the competition automatically if they know someone else is in the running. But then the guy who really wants you is like, bet it's on. But
what competition, Dana?
Occasions, I think you have to do it tactfully and gracefully and let people know, again, this all goes back to language and communication. I'm very out forthright and with my intentions and what I'm looking for and what I'm doing. Now I'll let you know there is I have a friend right now that we're pursuing a relationship. We're seeing what we're doing or whatever, and then I'll let you know. Do we shut up? Sit back.
Are you saying
I'm not? I am not confirmed. I categorically deny all allegations. Or denying anything. No, I'm kidding. But when there is, shut up, Jennifer. So when there is, the potential for clashing, for example, because they may want to go out on Tuesday and then you want to go out on Thursday or whatever. But the intention is clear that I have someone that I am seeing now. We're not serious, or we are serious, or whatever. We're going on. We're doing XYZ or whatever. Would you still like to continue, or would you like to go elsewhere? That's
yeah, I'm not giving that much information. Y'all a little bit better than me.
Well, the reason I do it, Jen, is because I would want the same information. I would want the same thing.
No,
like I don't want you trying to lie and conflict and do all this other stuff. I don't got time for that. Like Thomas said, I'm in a season of my life. I ain't got time for games. And one of the things that I appreciated about my late husband is that he didn't play any games with me. He said, I can tell that you are a woman who doesn't play any games. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be upfront with you about everything. And I said, sir, you have my attention, sir.
No, I'm not saying that I would lie. I'm not saying that I would be deceptive. I'm just saying that I am maintaining my autonomy until we have made an agreement that we're going to be a situation. So meaning, the question is, are you seeing anyone else right now? I'm casually dating. I'm casually dating now. Who I'm with, where I go, all of that, that's none of your concern. Like, that's none of your business.
No details. We're not giving details, but I'm letting you know that you're not the only option or the only person that I'm entertaining at the time.
Mm-hmm. That's real. That's real. That's real. I think that, and I appreciate this conversation. I know we stay here a little while because I've met a lot of people that do not believe in that. Like, they're like, when you pursue me, especially women, it's like, when you approach me, I should be the only thing on your mind. And I'm like, oh, okay, that. I think there should be some choice, but I wouldn't know. How does he know if he really likes you, if there's going to be a next level until we had that conversation? And I think that so many times we have created this wedding in our mind on the second conversation, and it's like, you don't even know these people. You don't even know these people. So in everything that you do, just be integral. I believe that God will give you the grace to navigate the dating space. So let's transition to the next space, because I think Dana tried to, she tried to give us a little hint that she may be off the market soon.
No, I didn't. I didn't say none of the sorts.
I'm just saying.
What?
Did you see George's comment? Did you see George's comment? Don't nobody know who you dating, Dana. You ain't told none of us. Don't try to get me in trouble, Jen.
I'm just saying, at FCC, I may want to see what's going on with missionary Dana, because she may have a little friend. Anyway, how are y'all dating in these quarantine streets? Like, so we know that our social norm has changed, and what would be Friday night date night, Saturday night date night, all of those things has changed. So how are you navigating? Are you currently dating right now? Or what does that look like? What does that look like? You could tell us as much or as little. The eyes, their eyes were watching God. People are roaming in these streets, so you don't have to be as particular, or you can figure it out. What's going on? How y'all navigate in these quarantine streets? Oh, now the cat got the dog. Okay.
I'll take it. All right, here we go. All right, so for me, I don't know if anybody's been tuned into anything else YLC, but YLC will keep you busy. And so I bless God for YLC. But because of that, and because of some of the other things I've been doing, I literally haven't had time. I haven't had dating done. So I've been working. I've been about upward now, around the clock every single day.
So the answer is no.
Yeah, I haven't been. And so, if anybody, that there it goes.
Oh, wait. What was that last part? What you want to say?
Which part?
What was the last part? I feel like
Elisha was about to make the altar call. Will there be one?
I am not making an altar call.
Okay, all right.
Listen.
That's not one that. Okay, next.
This is the season to get to the money.
Okay, sure. Anybody else? How are y'all navigating during these quarantine streets? Or how have you seen your friends, since we navigate through these quarantine streets?
I feel like it takes a lot of creativity. Because we are physically distancing, and doesn't necessarily mean that we can't socially interact with one another. So I've seen people do like Netflix dates where they start the movie at the same time and just like talk to each other on the phone. I saw people do like dinner dates. So it just takes a lot of creativity, but you just have to be committed to it and somewhat innovative. But yeah.
Oh, y'all being real safe right now. It's cute though.
Here's what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say about quarantine dating. I think this is a perfect opportunity to see people for who and what they really are. It's a perfect time to see her with her hair all jacked up with no makeup on. It's perfect time for you to see him, scruffy and, bearded and all that, whatever. It's a perfect time for you to be completely honest, because there's distance, right? He ain't gonna show up at your door acting crazy. That's it.
Ooh, y'all are really trying. Okay, all right. Thomas, Lawrence, y'all gonna give me anything? Give me something. Because the people are very, it's real.
Here's what I'll say, and this is something that I've learned from me. I think in this time, this is not even necessarily like a safe answer, but I feel like right now I have gotten so much more in tune with what I like. Like this has been the perfect time. If you have never taken time to yourself, This is time to like really stop focusing on other people and really dig into you, date you for a little bit. And that's, I know it's like cliche a little bit, but
Very
like
cliche.
very, but it's so real because so many different times. And like there's within the circle that I'm in, we talk about this a lot. This thing called the law of reflection, and it's like we go from thing to thing often. Like especially those of us on this chat, we got work. Like we working on our own stuff and we working on somebody else stuff. We always doing something else, and we never take time for us. And when we do that, we don't really get to learn what we missed about us that we should have been learning about ourselves. So I feel like right now has been a real great time for us to dig into ourselves a little bit and figure out, you know what, like I know people that I've talked to have done this and I've just kind of always done that, but I don't really like doing that. And I don't think I want to do that anymore. So like doing stuff like that and really kind of turning, there you go, turning inward. Like that's really what we should be doing. I think, not to say that we shouldn't be trying to figure out ways to connect with other people, but like honestly for me, I learned so something just random that some people know about me, but not a lot. But I learned during this quarantine time, I learned how much I really love to bowl. And that's because I haven't been able to bowl. And like the other day, I was, for whatever reason, it just could not get out of my head. I need to go bowl. And it's like stuff like that, hobbies that you haven't been able to connect with, learning those things about yourself and learning different things. That way, when you come out of quarantine and you meet people and he's like, you know what? We might be compatible in some ways that maybe you didn't, or you weren't making yourself available to see before. So I think that's a really great time right now for us to do that.
I'm highlighting what Kim is saying right now because I feel like this is a real situation. She said, I've dated myself long enough. I'm in and out of quarantine. Ma'am of God, I agree.
But isn't it interesting that the man is the one who said that he turned introspective? We've been introspective this whole time.
Right. I've been in tune with myself.
We've been trying to figure out what we want.
I mean, y'all know how it is. You work and you work and you work and you got when you're busy, you don't really take care of yourself. Like right now, brothers, take care of yourself.
Maybe that's you. We've been taking care of ourselves. Maybe because we can.
We've been looking at ourselves. Right. Every time something goes wrong in a relationship, we the first one we look at. Now, what did I do? Oh my goodness, what could I have done?
Yeah.
Hey, Chanel said, ladies, are you guys still trying to talk to you, or are guys still trying to talk to you with your mask on? That's another thing. Can't nobody even see you no more.
So I don't wear a mask. I put a kind of a scarf on and then kind of like wrap it because, I got to be cute. I can't just be wearing no ugly mask. And yes.
So I think for me, when I think about meeting during the quarantine, like first of all, when I'm outside, don't talk to me. Don't get close. First of all, I don't know what you got, where you been, who you with. Like, don't talk to me. Get your groceries and go on about your business. So when I talk about meeting in the quarantine, I'm talking about like we live in this era of social media, right? So I personally believe that while you guys, these three guys, because I don't believe the rest of you are like this, but these three guys may be doing a lot of introspective and work. I'm telling the rest of y'all, this is the time to get in the DMs, okay? Like she ain't got nothing to do. She come on, like she working. We can't go nowhere.
Teach us.
Huh? So
you don't think we're already in the DMs? Y'all not in the DMs?
Let me know when y'all ready for me to tell some truth, because I don't think I'm sure what's happening here. Because
okay, so for all my brothers listening, what you're saying right now is this is the time to like if you ain't never shot your shot.
Don't encourage them.
Let me tell you this. Let me see. It's only 75 people. I can be real. I'm gonna be real. Somebody who had been watching me for 6 months. He been making a little small talk, stuff like that. Let me preface this and say I do not have a boyfriend, so I do not want this to get in the way of my husband finding me. Okay, so don't you be discouraged about what I'm about to say. So, but he had been watching me for 6 months. He been saying little stuff in there. That baby shot his shot in this quarantine season. And that's all I'm going to say. God bless him. God bless him. And I think the shot made it in. I'm just saying. Hallelujah to you, Jesus. So what I'm saying is, while these men of God are trying to act like they so busy and they soul searching, the rest of you, besides these three, you better get into them DMs, okay? Because all I'm saying is, she said, listen, DMs have been on and popping. I don't understand why not. Now, I mean, we're talking about godly people, right? So we're not saying that you're not going to be in there saying anything reckless or disrespectful and stuff.
Oh, you know, you have to clarify because everybody on Facebook ain't saved, Jen.
Yeah, so I ain't
And
talking about
every DM is not pleasant, and you have to block and do some things. But yeah,
exactly. So those strange, weird people,
the
we're not
weird
doing that in
keepers.
any season. Okay, even when we're free, we're still not entertaining that. But in this season of being, you know, at this stay at home order, you know, all of that thing, I think you need to go ahead and shoot, men of God. I'm just saying, because you can play if you want to. I'm gonna get back outside and I'm not gonna be able to see you. But while you work on yourself, I'm out of here. Out of here. I may be married coming out the quarantine. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I'm just saying, I'm not sure what the people of God are doing, but we've been working on ourselves. I'm single. We've been single. Hello. She said, my DMs need a break. Woo.
Hey, Justin just came on and said there are rules to DM dating, and
there are rules
so
to
true.
Don't be a creeper.
All right, let's give them some rules. I got a whole list. What's the rules?
Help us, ladies.
I'll start. If you do not know them, if you have not interacted with them on your page, don't slide in their DM. You're a stranger.
Don't slide in their DM.
Start with a like or something, a comment, and then slide your way on into the DM.
And don't like 52 of my pictures and then slide into my DM either.
Right.
Well, maybe like 4. Let me know that you
not 52.
Hey, I'm about to go like all of Dana's pictures.
You might be the 4th or 5th one at this point. This is getting interesting.
I'm just saying, but clearly our communication. Somebody said use proper grammar
and punctuation.
Okay, what else? Give me some more. Don't what you doing me to death, because by the second one, I'm going to block you. I'm not answering.
Because you're not paying attention.
You don't. I believe that you should try to connect with me on something that I like. Or something that I like. Somebody said, isn't it like online dating?
Kind of.
Yes and no. It's a little different. I think that on social media, you may have met the person in real life. You may have met them at YLC 2019 and y'all connected and you've been looking and you've been trying to figure it out. You know, what's going on? Hey, here comes quarantine season to help you out. She's, you know, you see the green dot is on. The green dot has been on for a couple of hours now, and your green dot is on because you're watching.
Oh my God.
Right. So Sharon said, don't slide in if I haven't liked a pic back.
All right. Well, there you go.
If you sent 5 DMs and you didn't get a response, stop while you're behind.
Stop it.
At that point, you're a stalker. You're a stalker at that point.
Yeah.
You're not going to harass.
Wait for a response.
No more DMs.
Ladies, I gotta ask.
Baby or
Say that one more time.
Do not slide in with any body part.
And I may call the police. Okay?
Use English.
I may call the police.
Ladies, I gotta ask this question, and I'm so glad I got all 3 of y'all on here because this is. I mean, I'm gonna be quite frank with you all. I don't know what it's like, and I haven't heard too many experiences, but I know for sure that you all get some of the craziest DMs. So I just gotta ask. I gotta ask. If you are comfortable, what's one of the craziest DMs that was just out of pocket?
I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you.
What?
I can't even tell you because it's gross and vulgar, and it's from a pastor.
Yeah, call the police. Wow.
Yeah, it's gross and vulgar, and that's before pre-quarantine. I think some of the dangers of being like a singles leader and being a woman, it makes people think that you're open and available. And anytime you're nice to people, they think it's an invitation. But here's my thing. If you look at any of my timeline, you know that's not the kind of language that we use, sir. We don't do that around these parts. So no.
I think one of my craziest ones is I'll say something like I think I did like a celebration post of like BBW's beautiful big beautiful woman or something like that, and this guy, first of all, We've never talked. Like, I was like, don't be trying to fake love us. You know, I be talking about trash. Don't be trying to fake love us in private and all this other type of stuff. This man slid in here was like, I love big girls. And I was just like, sir, please get away from me. I don't know you, stranger danger. Please, please, please. That was not an invitation. So like Jada said, I think that sometimes in just making statements and being vocal, that everybody just be like, oh, what's up? Like, no. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone.
But don't get it twisted. Like, there are people who come respectfully because they do, you know, recognize the Lord on you, and they see what you're about, you know, by what you post or whatever. And there are people who do come respectfully, but you still, you know, run that risk, like we talked about before, of rejection. Like, oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so the brothers, for those of you, okay, so my brothers on here, go ahead and share this with your boys, because I'm about to take over, Jen, for a second, because I think some of our brothers need some help. So for you three, right, you guys just talked about some of the stuff that you don't like, some of the bad things that have happened in your DMs. If a brother was to shoot his shot, y'all said it's time now to shoot your shot. If a brother was to slide in the DMs right now, what would a respectful message that would actually get your attention? Because I mean, three beautiful women as yourself, I'm sure your DMs are flooding, right? What would make somebody stand out but also stay respectful? Help us out.
I'm not gonna help y'all. Y'all, somebody else help. I don't need no more.
I feel like don't think too deep about it. Just like have an opening conversation. Hello, how was your day? Like, it doesn't have to be all super deep. Like, woman of God, the Lord told me to slide in your DM, which I recently got. But yeah, so just don't be extra deep. Like, be simple, inviting, and still engaging. Like, yeah.
So for me, it's just be 100. Like, I love when people connect with my work or the things that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be, it doesn't have to be rehearsed, but show that you're interested and show that you're invested. That's so good. Yeah, show that you're interested and show that you're invested. So don't just feed me something that you're feeding to everybody. Like, at this point, I already know that I'm beautiful. Thank you. You know, good morning, beautiful is great. But I saw you on X, Y, and Z. You know, I think that's really dope. Like, tell me more about that. Or I saw that you just did X, Y, and Z. I hope that was, you know, how did that work out for you? But for me, it's just really being genuine and being intentional, and show that you don't just want a connection. You want a connection with me. And like somebody said, be a normal person. Yes. Do not come.
I don't need a prophecy.
I got a good pastor. I know the word. Thank you. I pray.
At that point, it's witchcraft. Like, you're not going to try to use the word to get what you want. You're lying. Like, no, he didn't tell you that. You're a liar. Move on.
Okay. So I think that okay.
Lawrence, we can't hear nothing you're saying.
You lost me, Lawrence.
I'm sorry. I was muted for a second. I'm gonna be transparent with you all, because I feel like one of the things that we don't address is how much it takes for a man to do. I mean, some of my brothers ain't right. I get that. And just on behalf of them, to all of you ladies watching, I'm so sorry. We got to do better. I know we do. But for the rest of us, there are some of us who say, you know what, like, there's somebody that I really like. I'm really attracted to this person. I see what they're doing out there. They project a really nice image, and I can see that they're about something. They're substantive, and I would really love to connect with that person. But doing that digitally is just so weird. So I think the advice that you all just gave, I'm saying it's weird because, first of all, everybody is not. I mean, for those of us like the millennial age, right? Like, everybody that's in that age is not necessarily tech savvy or just knows how to communicate digitally. So for some of us, we just prefer face-to-face communication. Why are you looking at me like that, Jen?
Because I feel like digitally is easier. Because
it's it's just as scary as doing it in person, even though again, you have that safety in the distance, like they're not rejecting you in person, but it's still a form of rejection. Just to know that the person that and you've shot your shot, and then it's like, epic fail. Some people really take that very personally. And we have to learn how not to take rejection personally, because again, we don't even know you. You don't even know me. And sometimes it can feel like you're being rejected at face value. So for example, I slide in your DM. I think you're kind of hot and I'm being nice or whatever, and I'm putting my little heart out there. You go look up my profile picture, see what I'm about, and say, no thanks.
And that's so real, because we project these images on social media, and it's like, oh well, she's this and she's that. Like, look at all this stuff that she's doing. I mean, all three of y'all should know that, right? You all are amazingly accomplished. Y'all are about something. Y'all got y'all heads on right. So y'all should know that when a man looks at you, number one, it's already intimidating just because you are beautiful. But on the back end of that, look at your pictures, right? Look at what you're accomplishing. Like, oh, she on the flyer for this. Look at was she doing this, that, and the other thing. And then sometimes I got to look at myself, and then I go look at my profile. I'm like, well, I don't have all of that stuff together.
Well,
so
it's something wrong with your self-esteem, whether it's online or not.
Well, I'll say this. I think that there's more upside to it in person, because I get to allow my charm. I get to allow my personality to speak for me, not my profile.
So I would say this. I would say to the guys, like, if we're comparing this to shooting shots, if you hoop, every shot don't go in. So you have to be okay with the amount of shots that don't go in. I think for you personally,
celebrate the one that makes it.
Yeah, you just gotta know what percentage works for you. You might be a 73%, you might be a 33%. But just know what clip you're shooting at. But more than that, get creative. Get creative. I don't think we can't sit here and say, oh, I'm just rejected. Like, get creative. Somebody put something on their story, you might just reply to that. That's a dope DM slot. Maybe you liked a couple pictures, she liked some back, but you didn't want to just go in.
There we go. We're flirting now. We're flirting. There you go.
Maybe she was just with her friends and she did something funny, right? Okay, that's a great time for you to show your personality, because in that moment we're almost simulating real life. Because if I were in public and you did something funny, I might just walk by and be like, and say something, right? Mm-hmm. So there goes my chance to do that in the DM. I just get a chance to kind of put some personality on what you've already put out there. We use our stories. We use, even if it's just a post, you go ahead and share that post to their messenger, and add, your little comment on there. There's ways to go about it and be creative and not really be weird and not just be, I hope you're having a good day, beautiful. I don't send a message that looks like it was copied and pasted.
That you did copy.
The first thing they're going to tell you is, did you copy and paste that? How many women have you sent that to?
We're not going to answer.
And so, the three on here are just not going to answer at all. But, come up with there are definitely creative ways to go about it. And there's ways to gauge online whether that interest is mutual. Like, if everything you post in, like, she's one of the first people liking it, like, she's not about to go get you, but she's letting you know, like, I see you. Like, you can play if you want. I'm not going to shut you down. Just like in real life, you kind of get a flow for that while you're moving about. So there's a way to do it online. Maybe this goes back to that whole corny thing where, you do not come at it with the Bible. You're not Ruth. I'm not Boaz. This I like this video. This video is dope. Like, just, get creative.
I like L. Whoever L is, you're my friend. Homegirl just said, just speak up. It don't matter. Just speak up. Don't because in person, digitally, however, because sometimes, you see me at different places, then you're weird. And then you want to text me and inbox me afterwards, like, yeah, so I saw you block. Like, no, you're weird. Like, man up. Like, say what and not even like that, but just talk, be normal, be regular. So I think it's just, at the end of the day, whether it's digitally, whether it's, in person, you just have to take the shot. Now, one last thing, and I just need a yes or no answer from the guys before we move forward. Are you guys okay with women shooting their shot at you?
No.
Somebody may say, Thomas, you know, I see your momentum over there, and I just want to know what. I want to know. Case of your momentum, man of God. Are you okay if she shoots her shot in the DM?
I think that's the wrong way to do it, though. You know what I mean? I don't really agree with it. I'm old school. I'm just like the guys. You know, I want to chase. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say nah.
So that's the no.
You don't want to put no bread.
And my stuff lately has been are you bringing momentum to a different city?
Tell me more about momentum.
Hey, look, Thomas, you said it's coming to a city near you. That's what you said. You said momentum is coming to a city near you.
And they probably was like, which city is it?
The city near me is
No,
Houston. Are you flowing by Houston anytime? No, so I don't think the DM defeats the purpose of the chase. And let's clarify a couple things right here. You never really see her first. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest right here for a second.
Talk, bro.
You never ever see her first. She gives you an opportunity once she's already seen you. It's never really like.
I'm confused. Bring this back because I don't know.
What I'm saying is, by the time you think you scoped out, like she's already over there. Like, I wonder will he come over here? Like, it's already done. Like I've seen several situations where, you know, I was put in a place to be successful, and it wasn't necessarily because I saw them first. You know, somebody just, you know, they're going to put you in a position. They're going to see you, and they're going to just give you a chance. Now, whether you take this opportunity or not, it's on you. But even in real life, in the real world, non-pandemic, she is going to give you a situation where you can actually come out here and shoot your shot. And whatever way it goes.
That's what the likes are for.
I'm telling you. So
that's when y'all like somebody, y'all saying, all right, I'm liking this because I want you to at least go on I want you to see me.
Well,
like it's giving the opportunity.
I don't always know. As far as the likes, I don't really know. I'm not gonna say that because that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just a good picture. You know, sometimes I'm really just supporting. So,
don't.
Bro, if somebody like consecutive pictures that you post, like I posted this 3 days ago, you like that one, you like the one I posted 2 weeks ago. You was on my page.
Hey, look, Lawrence. I'm not even gonna hold you. So no, but I mean, if a woman slides in a DM, I don't think that changes. That doesn't do anything about the chase because you still have to get her.
Oh, so you're saying yes?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I don't because I just have a problem with it if like you DM and then now like you're on like you're knocking down my door. Like if you knock on the door and I open it and then you run back to your apartment and I gotta come knock on your door, yeah, we good. Like I'm just saying, but if you knock on my door and then I'm like, who is it? And I close the door, you beating my door down. Like now you beating my door down. We got an issue. Yes
or no?
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
I just and just a quick reason as to why it's too familiar to me. I think. Not necessarily that I get DM. That's not familiar at all. But the feel of it is familiar in terms of like y'all know how it is when you raised like in environments like I'm raised in, like PK, when you traveling around with your parents and stuff, it's people trying to talk to you all the time, and it's like I know what you after, and it ain't me.
Okay.
So when people like, so if someone were to DM me, I feel like that would be very familiar to me. Like. Yeah, like you see what's going on and you just trying to slide in. So I think I would have to go based off of a personal connection that would have been made already before that is cool with me.
Okay. All right. We can move forward now. That's, you know, so we got 2 no's and 1 yes. Okay.
One leave the breadcrumbs.
Leave a trail.
Oh, okay.
Leave a trail.
I love it.
I mean, because my thing is like, we can't set up so many rules, and then now we're asking, okay, what do I got to do?
Exactly.
What don't I do? Like, if you might say something in real life, you might say, hey, like, that's a nice jacket, and that would be that can be considered, shooting a shot. It
Why
can
is not shooting a shot?
It can
No, that's just common decency. That's just a normal
be.
exchange.
No, I'm not. I said
You look nice in that.
it can, based on
There's
my
a way you
reaction.
say it now.
Based on my
Now wait a
reaction.
minute. If it's Brother Elisha, you look great today. All right. Or if it's hey sir, that's a nice tie. You see the difference?
No, exact. That's why I said it can be. I'm not saying it is every time, but it can be. And all that is that's your opportunity now to go ahead, and put in work. But we can't just be like, don't do this. If you do this, I'm not interested. If you do this, I'm not interested. If you do this, I don't want it. If you do this, I already think this.
You know what
now we've already set up a whole bunch of rules. You got a whole water to blow through before I even get interested. I'm not about to do that. Like if there's something, if there's a middle ground we find at some point, all I know is do not chase me. Like, do not run after me. You drop these breadcrumbs, and I promise you, I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
You know what I found though? We always have all of these rules until you like the person. If you like them, it don't care what they did. Oh, it don't care what they say. It don't care if she liked it 5 pictures, 6 pictures, or she only liked 1. You already interested, and those rules have just went out of the window. I want to. My brother Joe said, he says, "Are you coming back for 6 p.m. service still work?"
That's the GOAT of church pickup lines. It works every time. If they like you, it works. Oh yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah, it's like, why you want to know? Why? You can always know they like you by their response. So moving forward, I want to talk about something that I don't think we talk about as much. I believe that everybody on this panel has something going on. You're doctors. You are you got things going. We got upward bound, upward forward, momentum. Lawrence is out here doing laws of attraction.
Good, man.
Dr. Shonda is a whole doctor, like in real life. Today she's like, oh, let me catch up, guys, in between sessions. We got Dana, who has like 10 books and 5 businesses, 8 businesses, and she does. So with all of that being said, and I don't know if I'm going or coming some days. With all of that being said, how do you date an entrepreneur? How do you date somebody who's busy? Like, how is it different in dating someone who has a vision? What does that look like? Let's talk about that. Let's unpack that. Is it different? I feel like it's different. I feel like it's
very different.
Very different.
Extremely different.
Absolutely different.
Thomas, I want you to take the lead on this.
It's absolutely different because there's no set schedule to how things are.
That's it.
So I think the first thing, and I'm gonna just speak from the male's perspective to the women, that I think that that number one, dating a entrepreneur or dating someone that doesn't have a set schedule, such as a creative, I think it's important to have the grace to be able to be with that person. If you are a type of person to where you want what you want when you want it, that might not be the best relationship for you. But I think praying for the grace and then having an understanding that, hey, I might have things going on, but you are a priority. I'm gonna text you. Now that's the flip side. The entrepreneur should make her feel important, even if he is busy. I believe that he should, at least shoot a text or email or whatever the case may be, social media, DM, whatever, just letting her know just what I have going on. But I think that it's important for her to have the grace to be able to date that type of person and understanding. They also have to be secure, depending on the field that he's in. I can speak for me. I'm in ministry, so I speak to DM, email, counsel women and men, but women all the time. So I think that it's important for her to be secure in herself, knowing who she is and what she means to me. So I think that it starts with the grace and then security. But I think ultimately the entrepreneur he sets that that boundary of priority and where she is in his life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think
I
it's
think
also
that.
important.
Oh, go ahead, Dr.
Go
Shannon.
ahead, go ahead. Oh, so I was gonna say I agree with Cody. So I think that setting the boundaries and communicating that is really important because as an entrepreneur, like it's hard for me to shut down. Like I find myself working constantly throughout the day. Like that's just the drive that I have. However, like in a relationship, your partner might have to say like, okay, when we're on the phone, like we're not going to be on the computer. We're not checking emails. Like this is our 30 minutes of just communicating and getting to know one another. So I think that in order for it to work, it can work. However, you have to just be able to mutually agree upon different parameters that you can put into place for the relationship to actually function.
That's good. And if you can, I think that it's important that if you can involve them in some sort of what you do, involve them. I know I keep saying this because I'm coming from a different place, but I remember when I was married, that was one of my wife's issues, that I'm a musician. So she felt like she wasn't involved in my world. So she was completely oblivious to what I have going on. So I think that it's important also as an entrepreneur to at some point try to involve them in your world and what you do. I'll just use Elisha for an example. You're a videographer, you're a media person. Bring her to the set. Just to sit or to help you set up and break down. That's just an example. But I would say make them feel involved, like this is a partnership. And then that will eliminate some of the frustration that they may have.
So at what point do you involve them? Because that sounded cute, but in my life,
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so. If I'm having a shoot, I wouldn't want your girlfriend over here. I'm trying to get some work done. You can't hear.
I don't, because to me that sounds like a bootleg date. Like you don't got time for me, so I'm gonna take you to that. Absolutely not.
I agree. See, this is my thing.
I think that some women, they love that. It was a comedian.
But think about your client. It's not always about this.
I have to be real.
I have to be real.
I have to be real. If I have to, shoot for one of our corporate companies, I can't just walk in there and then they see the vibe between me and the young lady, and now they're looking at me like, "Yo, what did you think this was?" So I don't think that's not a dating idea, but I can tell you what it could be. If you've been involved with somebody for an extended period of time, and this person is someone, like we've said, you've decided that this is someone that you're going to go into the future with. You've given each other your goals. They understand where you're going. You understand where they're going. You support each other at a daily basis, and they're actually good at what you do. At that moment, you might have already shot, or they might have already went with me to go shoot at, a couple locations. And I understand, even for me personally, I'll pay them. I'm not going to take that as a relationship or, just because you're mine, you're good. I feel like at that point, that's a business, and the business will give you, compensation for what you're doing, like for the work. A plus is we get to ride there, we get to be there and work together, and then we get to ride back. But I will, make sure it's compensated. But in the same breath, at this point, I feel like now that's a more feasible thing. And I don't think this relates to all different companies and different services. I think there's some services that, you really can't go in like that. Like there's no me and you right here, right now. You're just going to have to, hold it down for a little bit. But, I think we just got to, the communication piece, you can communicate all you want, but it boils down to what Thomas said. They have to literally be graced for that. Everybody can't date an entrepreneur. Your day ends at 5, and my day ends when I go to sleep. And so for me, I will have to make time for you, and I will want to make time. But the fact of the matter is, I don't just have time. And that's the difference between, someone that's an entrepreneur and somebody that works a job is, at 9 to 5, you're at work. At 5, you're off. You have all of this other time. And so it can get tricky after a while. And I don't think anyone on here can say that we haven't had a good thing that we lost simply because that entrepreneur role, got the best of us. Like in one way or another, they could no longer continue. It was cool at first. At first it was, if it's Thomas, we picked on Thomas today. So If it was Thomas, oh, momentum is going to the end of the world. But after a month or two, now it's like, how much momentum do we need? It's going to change at some point. Like there's a shift in it, and at some point it really boils down to who actually believes in your vision. If somebody will actually believe in your vision, they will back you more than just somebody that's trying to get you. So I think
I don't know if I agree with that.
Go ahead.
I think that, so for me, because you said that there hasn't been someone that we've lost because we're busy and we're doing our thing. I think if I lost you, it's because I wanted to lose you. Like if I let you go, it's because you were not that important in my life. So my life is a little bit different. Like I have an 8 to 5, and then I have a 5 to when I go to bed. You know what I mean? And then I have as the Lord opens doors, I may have events and stuff on the weekend. So realistically, like you may get a day weekend. So for me, long distance is the best for me because you can't get all my time. I have to be intentional to give you my time. However, I feel like they can want to be involved, but I think that as the entrepreneur, as a visionary, as a creative, you have to carve out a space for them, and you have to communicate. And I think it has to be separate from your work. Like it has to be separate from your work. Now, for some people, by the time you get in a relationship and they want to help you out and stuff like that, that's fine. But I think when we're getting to know each other and we're finding a pace, we're finding a rhythm, I think that you have to communicate that. And I think as creative, right? I just want to communicate this. You have to be honest enough to say if you're available to date right now, because all the time and being a creative and trying to get to the grind, you may not have the time. You may not have the balance. And you have to be honest enough to admit that instead of stringing people along. I remember one time I had this guy who was really interested in me, and it was weird, but he sent me reservations. He was like, on Saturday, we're going to Capitol Grill. And I was like, well, unfortunately, on Saturday, I'm unavailable. And I wasn't trying to be mean, but I literally was not in town. But I think in not pivoting, right? And I just shut him down because I wasn't interested. When the reality is, if I was interested, it would have been, you know what? This isn't a good weekend. How about this weekend? And you know what? I'll make the reservations for us. You have to carve out time so that they know that they're appreciated and know, do you have the space, right? Because it's always not going to be balance.
I feel like some things that people don't understand about people who are driven as entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs binge watch Netflix too. We take time to do stuff too. So it's we'll find the time that when we got to get away from stuff, we'll find that because it's necessary for us. It's self-care. You got to do that kind of stuff. So we'll find the time to do the stuff that we need to do or that we want to do. And if you are which is why, especially for anybody who is an entrepreneur or you are interested in an entrepreneur, for them to give you their time is the highest compliment, because what they're saying to you is, because of the time that I have, I know how valuable it is, and for me to freely give it to you is big for me. So that's huge, number one. But on the other side of that, the reason why I would say that you don't lose people to entrepreneurship is because they weren't for you. The difference is, entrepreneurship isn't something I do, it's who I am. And if you aren't for me, you got to be attracted to me, everything that's a part of me. And part of me is producing. I produce stuff. There are things that are downloaded to me that I get, that I just have to go for, and I will continue to try to make you I will continue to make you a priority. I will continue to spend that time to make sure that you feel valued because you are to me. But at the same time, there are other things that I just have to spend time on. So I may be up till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, not because I'm doing anything, but just because I'm dreaming about something. I might be late in doing something else because I'm so focused on one thing. I have to produce. That's who I am. And if you are not attracted to who I am, right? It's not what I do, it's who I am. And if you're not attracted to who I am, then you probably weren't for me anyway. So I feel one of the things that I've always thought about in terms of continue to go, one of the things that I always look for is, do you have something going on? Because if you don't, you will be bored waiting on me because I'm always doing something. So if you ain't got nothing that you working on, it's me. That is such an overwhelming thing. Oh my goodness, it won't happen for you. I'm sorry.
You just
I agree,
I
Lauren.
do want to say one other
Yeah,
thing
real
too about dating an entrepreneur is that I think some of the etiquette rules kind of go out of the window because typically we think of late night calls as being as for one purpose, but again, if you're used to working into the wee hours, a call at 1 a.m. isn't that bad. But if if that's not your norm, then a call at 1 a.m. could be deemed inappropriate. So I think that shifts as well when you talk about entrepreneurship and even the type of work that you do, because for Tommy and for Elisha, they may be out and traveling, and that can cause some issues. Whereas someone like me, I'm up editing books all night and then doing whatever. I don't necessarily want to bring you along into that journey because you can't spell anyway, but that's okay. I still love you. So you can't always invite your person into what it is that you do. And I think it is important to keep your business part separate. And it goes back to just being intentional, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. I think if you really want to make time for people, even if I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning and you call me and I'm dog tired, I still want to hear your voice. And I'll sit on the phone and listen to you breathe, and you can listen to me fall asleep. Because that's what we used to do back in the olden days. I know y'all don't remember dial-up telephones. And like if there was a call and then call waiting.
Don't try to play us, Dana. Okay, we are not. We remember
Yeah, we remember them.
Call waiting.
Dial up.
Y'all know nothing about landlines.
Shoot, we still got one. What you talking about?
Having boundaries with late night calls, as well as consideration and understanding for the work each person does, is important. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, to be honest, the only time I have to talk is at the late night. So I don't know. Boundaries is different for different people, I guess, because I'm usually,
There are some people who would consider late night calls inappropriate. And even if you're, whether you're a single person, whether you might be a single mom, you have to think about the example that you may be setting for your kids, because you tell them that boys can't call past a certain time, but then you're getting calls at a certain time. So, it's just that balance. And again, that preference and going back to like language and setting boundaries and understanding.
Yeah, and I think it just goes along with knowing what your portion is. Like for some of us, late night calls may be what's up, but I think there's still a balance, right? Because if I'm up late at night and you have a traditional 9 to 5, it ain't but so much you can talk because you got to go to bed to prepare for the next day. So I think that all in all, communication is key. And I'm definitely, Elisha can take you on the set, but I think I'm in this singles industry. You can't come nowhere with me, champ. Like not right now. No. Like you just can't, because I just don't want you to right now.
So let me add to that involvement, because I saw a lot of comments as far as they're not going to be involved until we're married. You can involve them more than physically.
I agree.
You can involve them as far as what you just said, communication, talking about what you do, what's going on, how your day is going, challenges that you face. I think that when women want to feel like they are a part, number one, and I think that most women are they are birthers. Well, all women are birthers. So they enjoy a man who has a vision. They enjoy a man who is creative. They just want him to have his priorities together. That's what I believe.
We enjoy the same thing though. Like to know that you have something going on while I'm pursuing my thing is so attractive. Like to know that, because I want y'all to know, especially, you great man of God, the clout chase is real too on the females. And I ain't never seen so much in my life. Like people just trying to connect or trying to build on what they think you're building on and stuff like that. So to know like you are a solid man, you out trying to make your own vision and the things that God has given you come alive is so refreshing. And I think that, like you said, having that conversation, because having someone, I know as an entrepreneur, as a creative, just someone to vent to, like, yo, today
Exactly.
was
Yeah.
horrible. Like my dog was raggedy, and then this X, Y, and Z I'm trying to push through is raggedy, and just having someone to listen and help you unpack all your emotions is amazing.
It hits
I
different when
agree.
you understand it too. It
Yes.
hits nothing hits different like a creative that is at least conversationally involved with another creative. Because there's certain things that when you get across, they already understand off rip that maybe somebody else wouldn't. There's certain business decisions that you would have to make that somebody else from a place of of experience
Mhm.
can give you some insight to. That hits way different.
Mhm.
And that's definitely one of those moments where you go, this is really, really dope. And so I think you're absolutely right, Jen.
I am. So, so anyone else want to say anything contributing to the visionary entrepreneur?
Not do that again.
Huh? No, you always. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Promise. It's okay.
I think there's different levels of busy. So every entrepreneur is not the same. The entrepreneur that's selling eyelashes on Instagram, and the entrepreneur that runs, a business that's in, 6 or 7 different states.
Wait a minute. Watch your tone.
Right. The beauty industry is
saying.
booming
Watch
right
your
now.
tone. You're not going to take my girls. Eyelashes.
Yo, they came hard, bro.
Don't come
I'm
for
saying.
them,
I
Doc.
was with you, and then you
Just
backed
feel
up.
away.
And then
I'm
you
just
said,
saying.
that's why we have to help. This
I'm
is
just-
Go
I'm
ahead.
just
Go ahead.
saying.
Put yourself in the hole.
The good thing about my answers is I'm not answering for clout, and so in these moments where somebody goes a different way, I'm okay with it.
No. It's raggedy. It's not about clout. It's raggedy.
It's the truth. It's
No, it's not.
the truth.
I think what my brother was
him.
attempting to communicate.
Nah, I got no.
But
I
he's
got
drowning. No.
okay. So it is different levels. There's different levels where this guy is a CEO. You know what I'm saying? And he's got to, come up with all of these schemes and things of this nature to keep his business going. We got to, use social media to make sure that we're constantly in front of our, people. We've got to use content. If you're using content, either you're creating the content or you have to pay someone to come up with this content. You've got to give them your vision. They have to use your DNA in order to produce content.
Wait,
that works for
no.
you.
You're missing it.
I'm talking from a standpoint of the amount of work that you have to do. So everyone's busy is not the same. So when you're looking at a different entrepreneur and different people and what they're doing, everybody isn't doing the same amount of work. So maybe you don't have to let everybody get off on the, I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, they might not be up at 12 and 1 scheming or figuring things out, or like Dana's writing pieces to their books and things of that nature. I'm saying
That's
that
what I like.
the level of work is not the same for every entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's different for everyone. And so understanding what level you can cope with, you might be able to cope with. The drive is not the same. The drive isn't the same because everyone is not going to attain the same level of success. And so the work isn't the
Are
same.
you saying the drive for entrepreneurship is not the same as working a 9 to 5?
I'm saying no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying everyone's drive for success is not the same.
No, I got what you were saying, but you're trying to go on my eyelashes. And what I'm trying to say is she's to get up in the middle of the night and find them vendors. She got to name each one. She got to find a marketing strategy. She has to find out who she wants to market.
I'm not saying she doesn't have to work. I'm just saying that there's different levels and scales of work for different.
We just God bless you.
We ain't gonna win this one, bro.
I don't have to win it. I'm just, if you the fact is a fact, if you agree or not.
Now we're getting aggressive. So last question on this: how do you know if someone, because someone had this question, I think it's really good. How do you know if somebody is invested in you versus being invested in what you do?
I think when they start asking questions and making comments about you individually, me as a preacher, I like the fact, hey, that was a good word. But I think that you'll know when that person is into you when there's questions like, are you getting proper rest? Did you eat today? How are the kids?
Question.
Yes, I think for them to ask and be concerned about you personally, that's a good indicator that they may enjoy what you do, but they're more concerned about who you are. That's my biggest thing. I want someone who's concerned about Tommy the person, than the other things that I do. So I think that's one indicator.
Anyone else?
I would say the same answer. Good answer, Tommy.
What I would throw out there, because I think we got to clarify this. Entrepreneurs don't do one thing. Like, it's a bunch of stuff, and there might be seasons in which we do specific things. And if you messed around and got attracted to what I was doing in that season, and then I moved, it's going to be an issue. So I think what Thomas just said is good. It's when you are talking about me as the person and not, so me as the producer and not what I produce, right? Like, you're not just talking about this thing that I just produced all the time and how well that's doing, and how many numbers you doing on that and all that stuff. You're not always talking about that, but you're checking about what's my motivation right now in this season, right? Like, what am I shifting to? Am I still in that space? When you are asking those kind of clarifying questions, that's when I know you are talking about me as someone who continually produces as an entrepreneur, and not what I produce as an entrepreneur.
That's good, man.
I think for me as a female, it's making sure I feel safe and protected. So when I'm traveling, or when I'm, if I have a crazy weekend, for you to say, like, have you rested today? Like, or, last week was crazy for you. You know what I mean? How are you planning on resting this week? Or, even for women, like, did you eat today? Let me check your Cash App. Amen. I just sent you, a couple dollars. I want you to make sure that you have eaten, right? Did you get into your hotel? Okay, right? Did you making sure I got home from whatever event or whatever, talking to me on the way home.
Right.
Event. If I've gone out afterwards, just making sure that I'm safe and protected. And emotional support is definitely for me. That's like, that's a plus. That's a plus. That's a plus. All right. So the last thing I want to discuss. So today, if you have had any type of inkling or awareness with the world today, you know that we lost another Black man to senseless violence. Ahmaud Arbery, I believe I said that correct. Y'all can let me know if I mispronounced his name, who was killed while jogging. And thinking about that, and our just our sadness, our frustration, the weighing on our mental health, that we can literally be in a global pandemic and brown boys, brown men not be protected, is very dissettling, right? So I want to take the last few minutes that we have to talk about, how do we create safe spaces for Black men? Is that important? Or how can women do that? How, as a dating community, how can we connect it? Because one of the things that this situation sobered for me was that sometimes as women, we can say, embark our demands and what we want and our perfect man. And, if you're not doing this, I'm out. If you're not doing this, you're not the one for me, because I'm God's princess. And, this is what I need you to do. However, in, talking about rejection, talking about just everyday survival, how can we create spaces for Black men, Christian men, that allow them to be vulnerable, allow them to be open, and to know that they are supported in a dating experience, or even on a platonic level?
Years ago, I had this discussion in probably one of our singles groups or something like that, because I could never understand why Samson kept telling Delilah his plans. I was like, she's just gonna mess it up for you. And it made me think about how every man just wants a safe place to lay his head. He wants to, and I never understood. I was like, why? Because he wanted to trust her, because he loved her, even though he loved the wrong woman, even though he trusted the wrong woman, because most of us will take his business and carry it, everywhere else. But it made me start thinking about how I can personally be a safe place for him to lay his head. That if you trust me with a little piece of your heart. One of the things my husband said, and it's just like, oh, it was like, he's like, you are the only one who has the power to hurt me because I trust you. And I was like, oh, that's like a huge responsibility, but I take that very seriously. So any confidences you give me, any dreams that you share with me, whether it's just in passing, I'm going to hold that and I'm going to support you with it. I'm going to be a safe place for you. And because I was a woman who has a quick tongue and, quick anger, I had to really learn to monitor my words and be very careful about what I say and my responses, just to be that safe place so that if you tell me something, I'm not going to overreact. If you actually, because it's hard for men in general, but really Black men to share their hearts with us because they're so used to being cut.
I had a tough time today, guys. I'm just gonna be quite honest. I woke up to it, and it has occupied my day like nothing else in recent memory has. I mean, I'm the type of person where I don't speak too soon. I don't like to do that. I don't like to make assumptions on things. I like to wait till things kind of play out, and this was one of the things that was way too in your face. And in talking about safe spaces, I think today I felt something that I haven't been allowed to feel my whole life, which is anger. Black men are not allowed to be angry.
You're not allowed to be angry.
We're not allowed to just want to go off. And one of the things that I've learned in the process of talking to people who are specialized in heart healing, and one of the things that I've really come to grips with is the fact that number one, men in general, but especially Black men, we are not given spaces in which we can grieve what we consistently lose every day. Grief is something that we don't get to do. There's no space for it. And part of grief is anger. It's feeling what we lost. And today I felt like I lost something. I was sharing this with somebody earlier today. Like, the crazy thing about this, and I think this is why it's hitting me so hard, is that just this week on Monday, I told myself, because I do these workouts in my house, but like there's no real space for me in my house to really get cardio in. So I was telling myself, you know what, I've been doing these workouts, but I need to hit some cardio. And just this week I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna start running around my community. And today to be confronted with a man who was 25 years old, not too much younger than I am, and to have been gunned down for doing the very same thing that I was just thinking about doing. I feel like I just lost I lost a sense of safety in the world in which I don't have a choice but to exist. Right. And to have a space in which I can be angry, to have a space in which I can express this thing. And then and here's the thing, since we're talking about singles and dating, here's the thing that I think is extremely powerful. When someone can take that expression, hear the intent and the heart behind the expression, because when you're angry, you say things, but when you say them, it's not necessarily what you intend. But when you can hear what's said, but hear the heart behind what said it, and then turn it around into something productive, that's somebody worth keeping. Because what you just did was you allowed me to feel, you allowed me to express, and that is part of the process in which I can heal from the things that I have to lose every day. People don't understand this, and I know I'm talking for a long time, but people don't understand that Black men lose that every single day. I lose safety when I'm driving down the street and a policeman pulls me over. And for that brief second, what a lot of people don't understand is for that brief second, I lost something that was guaranteed to me by the social contract of living in this country. It was guaranteed to me that I would be safe, that I would have people who were looking out for my safety. And for that brief second, I lost it. And for that brief second, everyone connected to me lost it. Why? Because in that brief second, it's all it took for me to be gunned down. It's all it took for me to not be able to go home.
Yeah.
So I think in order to really create that space is to be able to hear hearts, to really hear what we feel, and that gets to empathy. Like the thing that we lack so much within this country, within our relationships, romantic or not, is the ability to hear what someone is saying and not the words that came out. Can you hear the wound and not the word? Can you hear the pain and not just what I said, not just the word, the prose, right? Like, can you really hear what's going on inside of me? And if you can, then it should cause something inside of you to change.
Right.
But so often we don't give that space to our men, especially our Black men.
Right.
Yeah. So I love how we're talking about the psychological impact of this. So this brings to mind like the research behind it. So Dr. Joy DeGroy talks about post-traumatic slave syndrome, which is basically traumatization that our ancestors have experienced, that same fear being transgenerationally passed down to each of us, impacting us today. And so we're seeing that in how angry we are. We're seeing that in our diminished sense of self-worth. And to, go back to the question, like, how can we provide those safe spaces? Like, I'm in 100% agreement with you, Lauren. So like giving you the opportunity to say what you need to say, and also healing. Like, it's time for Black men to heal. So healing is spiritual, and it also, I don't want it to be too confined into the church world, because you can go see a therapist as well. That you can have Jesus and see a therapist, and that's where the true healing will come. So going back to like one of the symptoms of PTSS, or post-traumatic slave syndrome, you're going to be angry, and that sense of self-worth. Black women, it's time for us to lift our kings up. So gone are the days where we're saying like, you're not nothing, you're never going to be anything, things of that nature. That should never leave our mouths. So we should be at a point where we're building them up and allowing them to know that you are a king, you are a child of God. Because when they walk out of the doors, everybody else around them, everybody else in the world is telling them how they're not nothing. So I think, that's really important for us to really do in practice.
And one of the most powerful things about what you just said is some of the most powerful healing that I've ever received hasn't come from a woman, but it was from another man who understood. So to be able to hear that from my brothers, to hear like, King, like, you're amazing, like you can't give up, you can't quit, like we're counting on, to hear that from another man is so powerful. So I think like part of that healing has to start. I mean, it's like it's crazy, because we are the ones, and this isn't just for our men, our Black men, but also our Black women, but it's like we are the ones who are responsible for recovery of our own trauma, when those who perpetrated it don't have to carry it. And it's like, for us men, the stuff that we have to walk through and carry every day, to be able to see that on another man and speak to it, I think is some of the, it's been really powerful for me. I know that. And when I can speak to my brothers and encourage them in the same way, that's been helpful as well.
I want to definitely say thank you to Lawrence. Lawrence got me toe up over here, because a lot of those sentiments are so true. Like I told you guys earlier in the group chat, I was barely out of dealing with the situation with my family before this hit. Just last night, we're dealing with the fact that, my father gets home, with my mom in the car, and, there's 3 police officers that just pull up in the driveway. Somebody's in the grass, and they're like, they're yelling at him through the speaker, through the megaphone, and just letting him know, come out the car, put your hands up, be still, all of these other things. And it's a moment that's so scary. And you have this going on like right here on your yard. By God's grace, you make it out. And then the following day, I've got 2 churches right around the corner from my house. I run to these spots all the time. I'll go there, work out, play basketball, train kids, whatever, and run back home. And Lawrence, you said it so perfectly. I can't even do that anymore with the cleared conscience. Already when I drive, if I see I don't need to get pulled over. If I just see a cop car, there's already a trigger instantly to where it's like best behavior, no matter what. And you might have already been doing everything right, but in that moment, you're going to the 100th power to ensure that, number one, you don't get pulled over. And then when you do get pulled over, I'm not even worried about this ticket. You can give me 5 or 6 citations as long as I get to leave with my life.
Mm.
And those are the things that, you know, we have to deal with on a daily basis. I don't just want to say what women need to do. I also want to applaud our women, because our women do, a lot of them do a good job. We can't say, you know, we can't make things general or so general. You know, I've had, and I do have, you know, certain people that I can talk to, and certain circles I can talk in, and there's understanding, there's conversation, there's, you know, you're going to be okay, or whatever the case may be. We have that affirmation. Maybe let's get it from more sources for more people so everyone can feel it. But, you know, we have those pillars, we have those people around us. So I want to be the one to say thank you to those Black women will do that, you know, that will hear something in your voice and shut down and say, okay, look, I'm going to stop cooking for a minute. I'm going to come over here. Let's talk for a second. That does exist. And for those that do that, thank you. But in the same breath, I also want to say it is not your responsibility.
Not their job.
A lot of these things you cannot foresee. There is no way, if you would have told him before he went out to job that would happen, he would have never went. If he had a lady and you told her, she would have said, you're not going nowhere. And so there's a certain level where, you know, caution and fear meet. And when that meets, that's in the middle of a place that you never knew you would be. And for those things, how can I come back to you and say, you could have done more, or you could have done something for me, or I wish you would have done this. Y'all do what y'all can. And at the end of the day, we have to go out, fight these demons, fight these battles, but also, you know, have this mindset of faith in the middle of fear. Just like we've had faith in the middle of the pandemic, we daily have to have faith in these situations. And, you know, for those that are that backing support, for those that are, you know, those confidants and you push us on, thank you. Thank you.
And I just want to say real quick. So, just keeping in mind, like, the difference between like emotional support and emotional healing. So I 100% believe that as women, we can provide you that emotional support. And also Black men, it's also important to know that it's not your girl or your wife's job to be that emotional healer for you. That's when we get into a state of emotional dependence, when in fact, you know, you'd be going to Jesus Christ for that spiritual healing, as well as, you know, going to a professional provider in order to process those emotions that you're experiencing at that time.
Thomas, you have any last words?
I think my last words is just I agree with everyone. I would just ask on the spiritual side that we pray for the Black men. I believe, as it was stated in the news and the media, that this man was out running and jogging. And so I think on the spiritual side that there's really an attack on the progression in the advancement of the Black men. And that because of that, he was a threat. And so I really believe that that is our job, that even in this community with YLC, that we continue to keep our Black kings covered.
Thank you guys for that. And you guys, we're about to get off, but I want you to keep the conversation going. You do your part in the building of each other and basically just keeping each other covered in Christ. I know one of the things that I would just say is that we're not against each other. We're all in this together, whether you're dating or not, whether that's your boyfriend, girlfriend or not. There isn't a us versus them when it comes to gender. It's all of us in this together. So thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Singles Chat, and check us out again next week. We love you guys. Have a great night.
Love y'all. Take care.
Bye.
Be safe. Be safe.
We still live?
Yeah, we are.
Anyone there?
This is a really good chat.
This
Yeah,
is
well,
really
great.
good.
Yeah, and it's so important to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, that last note, Doc, that was great.
Man,
Bless y'all. No, that whole situation has been weighing on my heart, like seriously.
Seriously.
And even reading your text message from earlier, like personally, my parents have been through stuff like that. Like, I remember as a kid, like my dad was followed by like 10, 12 cop cars pulling up to our house, like threatening him. And like when you see stuff like that as a kid, it's definitely traumatizing. So I can feel for you.
No, this, I mean, you barely gotten over that. You barely processed it. You barely,
Yeah.
come to grips with, my,
Right.
my father. We have all kind of preachers, but I'm not gonna go there. But my father is one of those bona fide, like God. That if anyone makes it in, he's gonna make it in. He's gonna make it into the city. And so for something like that to happen, and and on top of that, honestly, I'm grateful for the chat and for this conversation because
Yeah.
I feel the need to go back to him and just be like, "Yo, are you good, pops? Like, like how did you feel like just for him to get it off of his heart? Because like
Exactly.
we don't have a space where you know there's never afforded us an opportunity that goes, hey, yo, let loose. Like, what's
Right.
going on? Like, how does such and such make you feel? Like, this and this is going on. How does that make you feel? There is no space where it's like, come on, get it out now. I don't care how much of it you have in you, get it all out.
Exactly.
And I think, this chat for me, it's made me think to my feelings of it, and I could only imagine his. And so in this moment, I'm thinking even more so to him, and I'm trying to, as soon as we get done here, we're wrapped up, we're no longer talking. I'm going to go to him and just be like, are you okay? Are you good? Like,
Yeah.
let's talk about it. Let's break it down how you feel, because at the end of the day, even for us, he's not even from this country. He's from Cameroon. Our family is from Cameroon, and I'm the first generation here. And so that's a different kind of emotion.
Exactly.
That's a different kind of feeling. That's a different kind of situation. And I'm definitely thankful for that. I mean, even like Lawrence, I'm really thankful for you, bro, because your words, really, really, really helped me out, man.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. Like on a
Guys, we
way.
got it in.
Hey man, just getting it out is helpful to me because
Yeah.
it's like I didn't realize how much of it because I was working all day, and it wasn't until
Yeah.
I stopped working and got ready for this that it really started to like hit me, and yeah, it was just getting it out is helpful, bro. So and I think that's one of the things that I'm taking out of this, which it's been on my heart recently, but none more than today,
Yeah.
is to start helping us as black men collectively have spaces in which we can talk to one another about this,
Yeah.
and not going to where you were talking about, Shonda, about the emotional dependency on one another, but just having spaces in where we can be us,
Just
right? Like
talk. Yeah.
and not have the pressure of not being a threat to somebody, not having the
Right.
pressure of not showing that side of us because of someone else's sensitivities or fragility, right? Like being able to have that space to do it, which like we are called upon to create our own. We are called upon to create our own security. We are called upon to create our own wealth. We are called
Yeah.
upon to even create our own safe spaces to be us. So I think
Exactly.
we collectively have to do that as men for one another so that we could just
Yeah.
be us.
I agree.
I'm so proud of y'all for talking about emotions on y'all live because there's a myth of the strong black men in the black community, right? So not saying you can't be strong, but this identity of like, oh, I can't show my emotions, I can't talk about being angry, like that has inhibited our community for centuries. So I'm just really grateful that y'all like sat here and processed it on live. So
I mean, I think we have to be personal beacons. We
yeah.
we can't keep on saying what we're expecting, and we can't keep on saying um, what we're feeling and things of that nature, and what we would like to see and what needs to happen